Hey racers, and welcome to today's live stream. You will notice a little bit of a different setup. Don't know if it's better or worse, but maybe you can let me know in the comments. I know that the picture in the background's a little bit chopped off. It's a little strange or hard trying to get camera angles sorted for live streams without actually going live all the time. The normal camera is a little bit different. But anyway, we've got a couple of additions in the background which I'll run you through. First one, which is half chopped off and backwards, so you're probably not going to be able to read it. That was a newspaper article in the West Australian from 2015. Strength a factor in success. Hammer develops new approach to training after years of racing. So really the same thing. Since 2015, we're in 2021, I'm still talking about the same thing. And that's because the principles of what I talk about are timeless. Okay, they're not things that, they're not quick fixes. I'm not changing, do this one week and then do something another week and change my mind all the time. It's the same things that I'm always speaking about with you guys, because that's the thing that works. Okay, when you've got something that works, the principles of training and building race fitness are the same, as they have been since I started coaching in 2015. So exactly what's in this newspaper article and I wrote back, or got interviewed about back then, is the exact same stuff that I go through now. And the other one down here is a photo that I got from Braden Elliott for, not last season, I got a calendar last season from him, it was from the season before, who races in the British Superbike in the UK. And I've got a few other things to put up. Maybe I'll fill up this part of the wall over here, which is a little bit blank at the moment, or maybe not, who knows. It's actually harder than it looks putting shit up on the wall and trying to get it to fit nicely into the camera. Say hello. Feel free to reach out, guys. Don't be shy. Who have we got here? Brody, Mr. Smith, good to have you here. Mr. Wilton, David, good to have you back again. Some familiar names that I've seen on here before. Good to have you guys here. Who else have we got? Maybe we've got some first-time watchers. Hopefully Facebook's got its shit together and I can see the comments, because last live stream couldn't see the comments, which makes it hard to answer questions for you guys when I can't see them. So feel free to shout out. Hey Tim, good to have you here. Hopefully you're back riding. All right. So topic for today's live stream is, well, as the title says, if you can't race 20 minutes at race pace out on the bike, do this, the things that I'm about to go through. Now, there's certain things that I go through on a regular basis with you guys. You guys that watch me have been following me for weeks, months, years. You'll notice I talk about similar things, okay? It's building strength, it's getting strong, it's doing the right type of cardio, and it's eating to perform. So this one's gonna be a little bit more advanced, maybe helpful for some of you guys that have been following me for a little bit longer. There was just a few things. I was having a call today with a rider that's followed a fair bit of my videos and implemented it, which is great, because at the end of the day, that's where the results are. But there was a little bit of context around implementing some of those things that was a bit misunderstood. So I took note of those, and hopefully they can help you guys that have been watching me for a little bit longer. So as usual, I have notes for our video today, and hopefully the camera setup plays the game. Hey Kobe, Mr. Davis, Mr. Cocking, hey Troy. So first things first, I always talk about strength, okay, and getting stronger. The stronger you can get yourself, the lighter the bike is going to feel. Okay, so you've got your, hey Jason, Mr. Mitchell, good to have you back again. The stronger you can get yourself, the lighter your bike is going to feel. So let's say that your bike weighs 100 kilos. Okay, if you've got a 450 or a 250, it's probably around the 100 kilo mark. If you're an enduro rider and you've got an oversized fuel tank and you've got your Camelback on and all the rest of it, probably a little bit more. But let's say 100 kilos at minimum, right? If you can double your strength, so if we look at the next, say, 2 to 3 months, right? Let's say you can double your strength. If you can double your strength in that period of time, what's going to happen is that 100 kilo bike is going to feel much lighter. And the lighter you can get the bike to feel, the less effort and less energy it takes to ride the bike. The less energy and effort it takes to ride the bike, hey Wade, the longer you can ride it for and the harder you can ride it. So if your goal is to get to a 20-minute moto and you're only at 10 minutes, by getting stronger what that does is you use less energy in those first 10 minutes. So instead of running out of energy, instead of fatiguing, instead of getting to that failure point or hitting the wall, whatever you want to call it, at 10 minutes, you're not going to do that anymore. And the reason you're not going to hit the wall is because you've used less energy in those first 10 minutes. You can still maintain the same intensity or higher intensity. It's just that you haven't used as much energy. You haven't fatigued as quickly, okay? Because your overall work capacity is up here now, okay? Instead of down here where it was before. So what that means is now you can push to 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 25, 30 minutes. And that's the importance of strength. Now, I've talked about the exercise and all that sort of stuff before. If you need help with that, I'm sure you can find that on previous videos. What I do want to talk about today, though, is I talk about using deadlifts, using back squatting, using bent over rows, overhead presses. Now, that's only a handful of exercises, okay? And the reason I use those exercises is because when I first start coaching or working with a racer, they're the base of exercises that I start with, okay? They're the exercises that we get cracking with. Now, one of the things that happens with training, which a lot of riders maybe don't know, get challenged with, there's conflicting information out there, is how do we look at those exercises over the long term, right? So we got let's say we take deadlifting, for example, okay? Or deadlifting, back squatting, bent over rows, overhead press. Let's say they're our staple exercises. How do we keep them progressing all year round? Like, if I'm deadlifting 50 kilos now, how do I make sure that for the next 12 months, I'm continually progressing, continually getting stronger, continually getting better? How do I make sure that my fitness on the bike is continually getting better and continually improving? So how do I make sure I'm not just improving for the next few weeks while I implement these exercises? How do I make sure I'm actually continuing to get better and continuing to build fitness all year round? Hey, Ben. Another familiar name, okay? How do I get the fitness that I have stacking on top of each other month after month, season after season, year after year? And how do I really build a really great base of fitness? Hey, Robert. So there's two mistakes that I find riders make, okay, when they're approaching their training. Hey, James, another familiar name. I get riders in one category that are changing their exercises all the time. Okay, so it's like they go to the gym today and they're doing leg extensions. Next time they go and do deadlifts. Next time they're like, oh, I'm going to go for a swim today. They do swimming. Then they get to their next workout and they're like, okay, well, I might do some leg pressing. And then they go to another workout and they're like, I'm going to do some dumbbell work today. And then get to another gym session and they say, all right, I'm going to go and run 5Ks today. And so they're always changing their training. Always varied, always something different. The problem with that approach to training is it good for exercise and general fitness? Yes. But for training, it's not. And the reason that it's not good for training is because your body doesn't have enough time to adapt to the exercises. So you might burn calories, you might work up a sweat, but what happens is because you're changing the exercises so much, you don't actually get good at anything. Okay, you get a little bit of progress in everything. If you've just come off the couch, then yes, you're going to see progress. Right? But if you've been training and you're always changing the exercises, what you're going to find is you're going to plateau very quickly. And you're going to be doing the same work you did at the start, but not really seeing any progress or the progress that you were at the start. Okay? It's like you're doing all of this work, but staying in the same spot. Okay? Which is frustrating if you want to improve your fitness and get better. And so the reason that happens is your body doesn't get an opportunity to get good at different exercises. So the example I have for that is think about, like, let's say you're a motocross racer and you want to get good at motocross, right? If I go and ride my road racing bike, okay, so I go out to Barbagallo or wherever, wherever your road racing motorsport park is, you go and ride a road bike, okay? And then you go and ride a trials bike, another ride. And then you go and ride a vintage bike, another ride. What's going to happen when you get on the motocross bike in terms of progress? Probably not very much. Okay? Might be a little bit of progress, but not much. Not much in comparison to what if you just ride your motocross bike every time you get out for a ride, right? Which one's going to be better? Obviously, you're going to progress a lot quicker if you just focus on riding your motocross bike. You're going to get better at motocross. Not if you're scattering yourself amongst all these different types of riding. And that's the same thing with your training. With training, you need to focus on, okay, what are the things I need to focus on to get better? If you scatter yourself too far with too many exercises, too many different types of training, you make very small, if any, amounts of progress in lots of fields rather than a significant amount of progress in one particular area. So that's one group of riders. The other group of riders are the complete opposite. They don't change their training at all. They get stuck in a little bit of a rut or a little bit of a routine. So when they go and train, they do the same stuff all the time, right? They get comfortable on the leg press machine, or they get comfortable on the exercise machine, or they get comfortable with doing deadlifts. And so every time they go and train, they do 3 sets of 10 deadlifts. Every time they get on the exercise bike, they do 40 minutes. Okay, every time they go and do leg press, they do 4 sets of 12. Okay, so these are riders that don't have any variation at all. It's like they just do the same stuff. Similar weights every time, similar sets, similar reps, similar movements. Okay, and so what happens with that is the first 4 to 6 weeks of any new training program are your like glory weeks. Okay, they're the weeks that you're going to do your best, that you're going to see great progress. You're going to go, fuck, this is awesome, and you're going to progress really quickly. What happens after roughly 4 to 6 weeks is you'll start to plateau. You won't progress as quickly. And even though you're doing the same exercises and same training. And the reason that happens is your body adapts to the training. Okay, so group 1 people, they change all the time and they don't get a chance to adapt to anything. Okay, this second group uses the same exercise all the time. So they adapt to the exercises, but then what happens is there's not enough challenge, not enough stimulus. So they stop progressing. So those first 4 to 6 weeks are when you'll usually see of a new training program, and when you see your numbers go like this and everything feels great. If you're doing running or rowing or whatever it is that you're doing, all of that will be awesome. You'll be like, shit, I found the thing. Hey, Matt, good to have you here. And you'll be like, yeah, I found the thing. I'm making progress. You feel really good. And then you get 4 to 6 weeks in and it's kind of like, well, it's diminishing returns. You don't see the returns that you saw in those initial weeks. And that's because your body adapts. So how do you apply what I'm talking about in terms of deadlifting and squatting and bent over rows and overhead press if you're not going to progress after 4 weeks, okay? And so what you need to do is you need to change the stimulus that you have in your training program, okay? For our riders, I do it every 4 weeks, okay? I don't stretch it out to 6 weeks, I do it every 4 weeks for them. That's the benefit of having a coach. I do the extra work and do it every 4 weeks instead of reprogramming it every 6 weeks. So what happens, and that reminds me, any of you guys would like some help with your training, send me a private message, let me know what you're working towards, and I can see if I can help. So after those initial 4 weeks, how do you keep your training progressing? If we know that it goes like this for 4 weeks and then plateaus off, how do we keep it going like this all year round, okay, or more like this as we go through the year? And so what you need to be able to do is rotate exercises, sets, reps, and weights. So what does that look like? So when I say deadlift, there's various forms of deadlifts. Okay, there's a conventional deadlift, which is probably what most of you know, just a normal deadlift. There's a sumo deadlift, which uses a different stance. You can use a deficit deadlift, where you deadlift off a plate. Okay, you could do a clean deadlift, which is another variation, different grip, different position. You can do an overhand deadlift. Okay, you do mixed grip deadlift. There's different variations, about 5 variations there of different deadlifts that you can do. You can do snatch deadlifts, snatch deficit deadlifts, conventional deficit deadlifts. Okay, there's heaps of variations that you can do for a deadlift. Same for a squat. You can do a back squat, you can do a front squat, you can do heels elevated, you can do a narrow stance, you can do a wider stance, you can do goblet squats, probably not the best for weight training, but that is a variation. You can do bodyweight squats, that is a variation, but probably not the best, because I always focus on weight training. You can do tempo squats, you can do pause squats, you can do dynamic, which is like fast squats, you can do heavy squats. So that's just some of the movements, right? So all the movements I give you, they're the base, but then there's different movements that you can do for each of those. Hey Jake, good to have you here, man. Hopefully you went out for a ride on the weekend, didn't have to work again. So you always want to be rotating exercises, okay? Like there's a base of exercise that I use, which I've given you guys, but then there's variations of those exercises that keep a rider progressing past, say, 4 weeks, okay? Or that short-term honeymoon phase at the start. The other thing that you rotate as well is the sets and reps. So your body adapts to the sets and reps that you use. So you can change them. So you might do, the first 4 weeks might be 4 sets of 10, which is more of a volume phase. Then you might go into a strength phase, where you do 6 sets of 3, 6 sets of 2. And then you go back and do another 4-week block. You might do 4 sets of 8, and then you flip back and then do a heavier set again. So that's how you change the sets and reps. When you change the sets and reps, you also change the weights as well. Because if I'm doing a set of 10, the weight I use for a set of 10 is going to be very different to doing a set of 3. Okay, so that helps the variation there. So that's the first part. Hopefully that helps you guys with the strength component past the first initial 4 weeks. Second thing is with the interval training. So I talk a lot about having your cardio reflecting what's happening with your racing. Okay, so when you go and race on the track, there's always parts of the track that are more physically demanding and take more effort than other parts of the track. Okay, so maybe like a whoop section, which is really rough, really sandy, a lot of effort, really fighting the bike. If you guys watch the MX Nationals or Pro MX now, on the weekend at Wonthaggi, pretty fucking rough track, right? Pretty sandy, pretty whooped out. Now, even on that track, as rough as it got, there's still sections of that track that were rest, okay, or low effort. There's the parts where they were like going through the air over a jump, that's rest. Okay, there was sections there where they're like missing a bump or they come out of a corner and they've got a nice smooth line there. That's a little bit of a rest, okay? They're only very short rests, but they are there, okay? And the funny thing is the more fatigued you get, the shorter those rests feel. Okay, if you've ever done interval training and you've done like 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off for 10 minutes, you'll know the 30 seconds at the end of the 10 minutes feels a lot shorter than the 30 seconds at the start of the 10 minutes, purely because you're fatigued, okay? So what I wanted to touch on today with the intervals is when you are doing the intervals and you've got those rest periods there that I talk about. So let's say for example, you're on the rowing machine, you're doing 10 minutes or 10 rounds, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. Okay, so 30 seconds flat out, 30 seconds complete rest for 10 rounds. The purpose of that rest is very important. It's got two things that are going to happen in that rest. First thing that's going to happen in that rest period is your body is going to have time to recover and get close to 100% recovery, okay, or as far as it can. And the reason that that's important is because then when you go hard for your next 30-second interval, you can hit that at 100%. Okay, so the thing we're training here is the intensity. We're not training duration of race, we're training the intensity of the race. So the way that we do that is we need your body to have rest and recovery periods to be able to go hard in the next 30 seconds. So if you don't use rest periods and you just rode for 10 minutes, the intensity of the whole workout drops. Okay, so we're no longer reflecting race day intensity. We're now dropping back and going back to practice day casual riding intensity because we don't have the rest periods. The rest periods are what allows you to go hard. Okay, and that's what we want to do, go hard. The other thing that will happen with intervals as you progress with training is your body will recover quicker in those 30-second windows. Okay, so at the start, when you first start doing interval training, it's really hard and really taxing. Okay, if anything's going to make you feel sick, it's interval training and high intensity training. That's because it's so demanding on your body compared to going for a 10-minute row or 10-minute cycle. Those 30-second windows that you have for recovery, your recovery will get better and better as you continue to progress with intervals over weeks and months. So you will get to the point where you can flog yourself for 30 seconds on the rower as hard as you can, and you recover super quickly in that 30 seconds, and then you can go hard again in the next 30 seconds. So when you first do a workout like that, your performance will probably go like this as you go through the 10 minutes, because your body's not used to the intensity. You'll go really, really hard at the start, flog the shit out of yourself, won't be able to hold that intensity, and you'll drop. What will happen though, as you keep doing that, as you keep flogging yourself in those 30 seconds, and you keep doing it every week, you keep sticking to it, and you keep working with the rest periods, is your recovery gets better. Your recovery gets faster and it gets more efficient. Because it gets faster and more efficient, the intensity that you have for each round now, 30 seconds on the rower, also gets faster and harder and more efficient. So instead of you dropping over the 10 minutes like this when you first start, you do that for 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks. Now your performance might drop like this, and then you keep going, and then your performance will drop like that over the 10 rounds until we've got a goal of getting it like that. Okay, your performance is always going to drop if it's a true 100% at the start. Okay, now when I say that though, you're not pacing the start of the workout. So if you're going into the first round and you're only giving it 70 or 80%, and you're able to maintain all your intervals across the workout, then you're just stopping yourself from making progress. You're letting your ego get in the way because you're going, oh, look how fit I am, I can maintain my pace all the way through. Anyone can maintain their pace all the way through a workout if they go slow enough at the start. That's not the game. The game is to go really hard, 100%, empty your tank in that first round, and then we want to do that every single round after that. And so then when you can go flat out every single round and hold that pace all the way through, or stop it dropping off so dramatically, that's when you're getting real benefits in fitness and real benefits in the cardio work that you're doing. Not when you're pacing the first round or the first workout and trying to maintain that pace but not having really have given it 100% at the start. So that's the second thing. How are we going so far? Just want to check in with you guys. Everything, maybe just give the video a like if everything is making sense for you. I've got the comments down here on my computer. Everything seems to be working a-okay. So we will get on to the next point. Next point, number 3, is eating well and eating to perform are separate things. So I hear a lot of riders that say, like, I eat well. They almost like dismiss the nutrition side and just focus on the training, okay? If they've got a reasonable body weight and they're not concerned with body weight, they almost dismiss the nutrition straight away. It's like, yeah, I eat well, I eat good food, I'm fine, I'm not overweight. Cool, let's get to the training stuff. But there's a difference between eating well and eating to perform, okay? So what's the difference between those two? So eating well would mean that you don't eat shit food, okay, a lot of the time. Let's say 80% of the time or more, you eat well. Fruits, meats, vegetables, you don't have takeaways, you don't eat chocolate, you don't eat ice cream, you don't have biscuits, okay? 80% of the time. That's eating well. Eating to perform is completely different, okay? Eating to perform is fueling your body with the foods that it needs to fuel each energy system, okay? It means knowing how much fats you need to get in, how much carbs you need to get in, how much proteins you need to get in, how many vegetables you need to get in for each meal, okay? It's knowing how they're going to affect your performance and what quantities of those to have for yourself. The other thing with eating to perform is nutrient timing. So there's eating well, and then there's nutrient timing, okay? Nutrient timing is where you know what foods you need to eat to maximize your energy. You know what carbs to have, what types of carbs to have, why you're having the carbs in the first place, how long to have them before you go and train or before you go and race, what to have after you train to recover, okay? What to have between races, what to have after a race day, what to have in the morning of race day, okay? That's eating to perform, okay? Eating to perform is knowing how to fuel your body with different foods to peak, okay? To be at its absolute best. Just eating well means you don't eat shit food, okay? So that's the difference between both of those. And they're the 3 areas that I wanted to chat about today. Change your training, your strength work every 4 weeks. Intervals aren't just about the intensity, but it's about improving your recovery speed, like you are on the bike. So when you've got those little rest periods, those little gaps out on the bike when you're riding, whether you're going through the air of a jump, you've got a nice smooth line, you're coming onto the main straight and it's smooth, you want your body to recover really quickly in those sections on the track, ready to go for the hard section. That's the purpose of intervals. And then, like we just spoke about, eating well and eating to perform are separate. Okay, if you want to ride well and you want to race well, then you need to focus on eating to perform. That's the next stage for you guys. Is there any questions at all? I've got a few minutes before I need to wrap up today's live stream, but what questions do you guys have that I can answer for you? I want you to send them through now for me. Just here on the live stream. And for those of you that are interested in coaching, if you want some help with these areas, okay, like if you're not sure how to rotate the exercises, what exercises you need to be doing, the sets, the reps, the weight, reach out, send me a message. Okay, I'll see if I can help you. Same with intervals. If you're not sure how to use interval training, okay, or if you're not sure how to progress with interval training over like past a week or a couple of weeks, okay, and you need some help with that. Hey, Braden, good to have you here. Again, message me, okay, get some help, see if I can help you. Let me know, give me a bit of info on what you're working towards. And then same with point 3. If you're not sure what you need to do to eat to perform, okay, you're not sure how it applies to your particular style of riding, you're not sure how it applies to your training, then reach out, okay? Send me a private message, let me know what you're working towards with your riding, let me know what you feel like you need help with based on what we've gone through, and I'll see if I can help. What questions have we got though? Send some questions through. I'm just gonna have a couple of sips of me. Good stuff, Jason. That's what I like to hear. Off to the gym. I just finished my training actually, just before we I jumped on this live stream. What questions do we have based on racing fitness, riding fitness? I don't hold anything back with what I go through. So on these videos, okay, these aren't videos like I know when I was racing. Sometimes you watch videos or read things that they kind of left you with more questions at the end than they did solve any answers for you, right? Made you more confused rather than less confused. So with all the videos that I go through, I don't hold things back. If there's things that you do feel I'm holding back, ask me the question and I'll answer it for you. I haven't done it intentionally. Everything I go through is exactly what you need to implement. There's no secrets that I hold out the back. Or if you, like I said, if you do think there's any secrets, feel free to ask them and we'll get them out. Braden, do I still ride? No, I don't ride anymore. So I did 14 seasons of racing. So I raced, I think I was 6 years old when I first started racing on 50s, and raced all the way to seniors, however long 16 years is from that. 14 years, 14 seasons. 14, maybe 20, might have been 20, maybe 20 years old when I finished. And so that was racing was a large part of my life. That's what, a lot of people ask, why did you stop racing? One of the big reasons why I stopped racing is purely because of the fitness side, okay? I didn't understand training like I understand it now. And the reason that I probably didn't understand it as well as what I needed to is because riding is so time consuming, right? No one has time to do the amount of work that I've done with fitness, like research, articles, and just the thousands of hours of actual training as well in the gym. Because I spent most of that time riding. Okay, like, you guys know what riding's like. You spend all week in the shed, you spend all week traveling and washing bikes and going to the track. Doesn't leave much time for anything else. So that was me for 14 seasons, 14 years. And that led me into training. I actually found strength and conditioning training by accident. I had a friend that went down to a specific gym and I was like, yeah, all right. I tried quite a few different types of training before, so I went down with him. And the type of training we were doing was pretty much all the stuff that I've been told not to do. Lifting heavy weights, okay, not doing long workouts, but doing high intensity workouts instead of like longer, 40-minute workouts and going cycling for hours. So I probably wouldn't have gone into that training if I hadn't stopped riding at that point. Okay, I wasn't taking my riding as seriously. I probably wouldn't have gone as hard into the training side as what I had, and I probably wouldn't have learnt the things that I learnt. So definitely grateful for going through that, or having things happen the way that they did, because it wasn't something that was planned. I've always loved training, always, ever since I was young. I've trained since I was in year 4, I think year 3, year 4. I was doing club level swimming 3 or 4 times a week. I was 9 years old, right? So like I've always trained since I was 28 this year. Since I was 9 years old, I've always done some form of training, always done something. Okay, like then it was club level swimming. I've done like cycling. I've done mountain biking. I've done RPM sessions, like spin classes at the gym. Okay, I did these gym sessions at a specific gym. I had sponsorship from a chiropractor when I was racing, and that chiropractor actually had a trainer that he used to use, and so he sponsored me and he paid for the whole training program. So I used to go and train at this gym that he invested in for me, and I'd go and train there, which was mostly weight training that we did, but it was a lot of machines and stuff like that. So I've done that. There's been heaps of stuff. I've done heaps of stuff. I've done body weight stuff. I've done weight training at home. Absolutely loved training. I really love racing and I really love riding, but probably since 2015, less than that, sorry, when I finished up riding. So probably from about 2010 is when I stepped up my time in fitness. That's what took over for me. That was probably when the transition. Before, if you gave me two magazines and one was a motocross magazine and one was a how to get fitter and stronger magazine, before I probably would have taken the motocross magazine. Okay, from 2010 onwards, I'd probably take the fitness magazine. I really love motorsport. Like I watched the Supercross on the weekend. I got up, or not too early, but got up in the morning and watched that before the pro motocross. Watched all the pro motocross. Like I still really enjoy motorsport, which is why I do what I do. So I get the best of both worlds. I get to do training and fitness, which I absolutely love, and get to be involved in motorsport and help riders really that have the same problem that I had when I was racing. It's one of those sports where like football and AFL and soccer and stuff like that, there's specific programs and strength and conditioning. There's people that already do that, but for motorsport, there's nothing really out there. There's a few people that don't do weights because you get arm pump, or eat some pasta the night before. But there's nothing to the depth of what I've done with coaching. I feel anyway since I started coaching. Maybe that answers your question, Braden. Maybe it doesn't. Matt Jones, interval training recovering from ACL. For that one, you definitely have to check with your physio if you're working with physio at the moment, or I'm assuming for you, because when we were working together, you were having surgery, so I'm assuming you're probably working with a physio at the moment, Matt. You'd have to check with your physio, but I probably wouldn't use interval training because it's too high intensity. I do find a lot of physios recommend just getting on an exercise bike and ticking over, or doing cycling because it's low impact. You can still use interval training though with upper body stuff. You could get on a rowing machine and just pull the handle and have your legs off. There's different. If you go to a gym, there's different apparatuses or different things you can get that just involve using your arms. There's one you can use depending on the gym you go to. It's like got pedals, but you use your hands for it. So you can still use interval training. Just make sure that it's not lower body, or check with your physio first. And if it's okay, obviously with your physio, then away you go. All right, that looks like it for questions for today. Couple of easy ones. Well, not easy, but a couple of questions. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed today's live stream. As I said, any of you guys are after help with your training, feel free to send me a private message. Otherwise, hope you guys enjoyed the video and enjoyed the new layout. Takes a lot of effort to put this shit together, believe it or not, but I made it happen. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I look forward to putting together another one for you tomorrow. See you guys.